Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Jafar Show. Today we're going to be discussing Israel-Palestine updates. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Guys, we like to smile no matter what. We need to be happy. We need to break a laugh no matter what. I know it's a tough time, but remember the movie Robin Williams, Good Morning Vietnam. I love that movie just because it brought a smile in a time of war. I didn't like how it did end up with Mr. Robin Williams in his real life, but he brought so much joy to so many people. So let's get back to our subject. Palestine, Israel. What's going on? The disarmament.
I want to make sure it's clear that what Hamas has agreed to and what Hamas is not mentioning in this deal. So they are agreeing to release the hostages, living and dead, and to no longer rule the Gaza Strip. But they did not, however, talk about the tunnels. They did not talk about disarmament. They seem to imply that involved in a consensus discussion about the future role of governance in Gaza. It is possible that those conditions are being discussed directly with mediators, but in this discussion they did not mention anything about the future of Hamas, its militants, its fighters, disarmament, and tunnels. But the key elements, Tom, the key takeaways here, that they agreed to release the hostages and leave power in Gaza, were clearly stated in this statement.
Here is what our Hamas officials saying.
Is for all the hostages to be returned. They've been returned. The mortal remains of those who were killed in custody or died in custody, they are yet to be returned. Will Hamas agree to disarm and leave power for peace to take shape, sir?
No, I don't agree with the Israeli formula. Hamas is ready already since more than a year and a half. They declared and they told us they don't want to be the government or in the government. But what we need is Palestinian national consensus that could guarantee three things. First of all, that there will be an independent Palestinian government. And we agreed about that in a meeting in Beijing with 14 Palestinian political parties who all signed an agreement that I drafted, and that is called Beijing Declaration, about forming a national consensus, independent government, not partisan, but independent. And that government will be transitional for about a year and then prepare for free democratic elections. I think this is the best formula, and Hamas agrees with that. Okay. The other issues about and such an agreement would lead to the two things. First of all, that there will be Palestinian rule of Gaza and not foreign rule of Gaza. No place here for Tony Blair to come and rule us. We've struggled like you did in India against British colonialism for a long time, and we don't need to reactivate British colonialism. So a Palestinian independent government, and also that would guarantee the unity between West Bank and Gaza.
No one wants to disarm Hamas and do the IDF fighting from Muslim and Arab countries. And as a matter of fact, even from non-Arab countries now, we hear that they're backing up. Nobody wanna be part of this ISF, International Stabilization Force, if they are going to be fighting Hamas. That's not what they sign up for, and they don't want to be put in a situation where they're going to find themselves fighting with Hamas. They are there as a peace force to make sure that nobody's fighting anybody. They don't want to be there to actually disarm Hamas. And this is where the IDF is stepping in, and they're saying, guess what? If you don't want to disarm Hamas, the IDF will do that. That's what Mr. Netanyahu is saying. He's saying we're going to do it either the easy way or the hard way.
The Gaza ceasefire is in effect, and as part of that, the US says Hamas must disarm. In fact, the US president has threatened violence if that doesn't happen.
If they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently.
And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu wasn't far behind.
Hamas has to give up its arms. I heard the president speak tonight. He said, listen, they better do it, or, how can I speak for him? He said, all hell breaks loose.
But Trump has also confused a few people. Here's why. After the ceasefire, Hamas mobilized 7,000 of its members as security forces. The group said it wanted to begin restoring order after the chaos and destruction of 2 years of war. Trump said the group had his approval to operate as an armed police force.
They do want to stop the problems, and they've been open about it, and we gave them approval for a period of time.
But what do we know about this whole disarmament process? It's supposed to happen according to the US president's 20-point peace plan. When exactly is unclear, but point 13 says Hamas and other factions agree not to have any role in governance. All military and offensive infrastructure, including tunnels, will be destroyed. Weapons will be handed over as part of an internationally funded buyback scheme. Independent monitors will supervise this process. But Hamas hasn't agreed, at least publicly, to disarm and abandon its armed opposition to Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories. But privately, some stakeholders have suggested that Hamas may be open to a decommissioning process for some arms. It goes beyond guns, too. The plan links the disarmament to Israeli withdrawal and Gaza's reconstruction. Point 16 says the Israeli military will transfer territory in stages to an international stabilization force for reconstruction. But development will only happen in Hamas-free areas. In other words, no reconstruction, no aid in areas Hamas fighters remain. So what about the fighters themselves? It's not clear how many armed members Hamas now has. One US Congress report estimated a strength of about 10,000 fighters, but one retired Israeli general has claimed 40,000 fighters remain. According to point 6, those who commit to a peaceful coexistence and hand over their weapons will be given amnesty. Those who don't want to comply will be allowed to leave Gaza and go into exile, never to return to their homeland.
Hamas officials are saying we won't accept any force that wants to disarm us from arms we make ourselves and barely capable of defending ourselves. So they're saying they're barely making those small tube explosives that are handmade, homemade, very small caliber, and that's all what they are making right now to defend themselves. And they're saying that we're not gonna give up that because we're resistant fighters. Why are we gonna give it up? The Israeli side is saying there will be no peace until that zone is weapon-free zone. They already been attacked before, and they don't want to be attacked again. And that's where the glitch is still, and that's why we hope that there will find some agreement. Because apparently right now, just like what predicted before in the previous episodes, they are going after Hamas fighters one by one. And Hamas fighters, they don't want to disarm. They're saying this is the armament of the resistance.
لا أستطيع الإجابة بنعم أو لا بصراحة. هذا يتوقف على طبيعة المشروع. مشروع نزع السلاح الذي تتكلم عنه، ماذا يعنى به؟ لمن سيسلم السلاح؟ لماذا يسلم السلاح؟ طب في سؤال، هل الإسرائيليون سيسلمون السلاح النووي الموجود داخل الكيان الصهيوني؟ لماذا يطلب من إيران تسليم السلاح النووي أو يعني إبادة السلاح النووي، تدمير السلاح النووي، ولا يطلب من إسرائيل الكيان الصهيوني تدمير السلاح النووي الذي تملكه؟
And as a matter of fact, what we heard lately, even Fatah, which is the Palestinian Authority in West Bank, the Israelis are saying they don't even want them to receive the weapons from Hamas. They don't even trust them either. So here we have kind of a dilemma because Hamas is saying they're only going to give them to Palestinian Authority. And if Israel is saying we don't even trust that Palestinian Authority until they do some corrections until they pass the test. There is no more pay for slave. Their curriculums at school has been changed where the Jews are not the enemy. Once all that happened and all that is implemented, then we're going to start trusting the Palestinian Authority. And then we may trust that they get the weapons of Hamas, which is basically the keys are in the Israeli side right now. Because even if Hamas want to give their weapons right now, they're not going to give them to Israelis. They want to give them to the Palestinian Authority. But the Israeli side is saying, we don't accept you giving it to the Palestinian Authority yet, because we don't trust the Palestinian Authority yet. We're going to trust the Palestinian Authority after they do the reforms. And this is where there's the glitch, ladies and gentlemen. So right now, they're just hunting those Hamas fighters, especially the ones that were stuck in that yellow zone. They were talking about 200 fighters, and the Israeli news are saying actually they are done. There is nobody in the tunnels now, and they killed everybody in that area. Those are the ones that they offered that they can leave just by giving up their weapons, and they will let them go somewhere else. That didn't happen. They said, no, we're not going to leave. We're going to fight it off to the last minute, to the last man, to the last bullet. And unfortunately, this is what's happened.
There is something I want to bring up, and that is that there has been very little reporting in the US media or in the world media about these Palestinian fighters that are trapped in tunnels in areas that are currently under Israeli control. This is a huge issue for Palestinians that everyone is paying attention to on a daily basis. There are fighters from Qassam brigades or other armed forces that are stuck in these areas, and Israel has been trying to manufacture its own victory moment. They want them to come out and wave a white flag. They want to snatch them and take them as prisoners of war. And they've been systematically murdering these men in tunnels. Israel claims they've killed more than 40 of them. Some videos have been put out in an attempt to try to humiliate them.
How many do people suspect there may be?
At the beginning, there was an estimate. It's hard to know. There was an estimate that there are a couple hundred of them. And remember, a ceasefire is not Israel makes an agreement not to murder civilians. It's Israel is it signed a ceasefire agreement with the armed combatants in this war. That means they signed a ceasefire deal with Hamas, whose armed wing is the Qassam brigades. They signed a ceasefire deal that encompassed all of the Palestinian resistance. And so what they're doing is they are murdering in an extrajudicial manner the armed forces of a party that they have signed a ceasefire agreement with.
And to underline your point, in a ceasefire, it's just it should not, we should not allow it to be not shocking. Like,
you can't say, like, if you sign a ceasefire and you say, but they're Qassam brigades. No, you signed a ceasefire.
Who you signed the ceasefire with.
Like, that's not how ceasefires work. But I feel like I'm losing my mind on that one point, because people are saying, oh, but they're terrorists, or oh, but they're Qassam brigades. That the ceasefire was signed with Hamas. That's their armed wing. Like, you can't then say we still have a right to murder these people because they're in the Qassam brigades, because that's who you signed the ceasefire agreement with. So this is a huge story that every Palestinian is paying attention to, and most of the rest of the world is not paying any attention to it whatsoever. It is a massive crime that is taking place. This is extrajudicial murder of an armed force that is under a ceasefire agreement.
And here where I humbly come and ask you again, both sides. Israel, I understand that you are bitter about the October 7 massacre, but that's enough. You got more than your revenge. As a matter of fact, you showed that you did more massacre than what happened in October 7. So I believe this is enough. For the Palestinian Hamas, I'm telling you guys that they are going for you one after one. You're going to stay there. They're just going to keep fighting with you. They have no problem with sending bombs after bombs after bombs. And who's going to be losing here? Who's going to be the victim here? I know that you guys are saying that anybody who's asking for Hamas disarmament is actually helping the Israeli cause. That's what Mr. Naim Qassem, the leader of Hezbollah, said in his last speech. But I'm just telling you guys, there is Lebanese Authority. That's who should have the weapons. That's who they're trying, and they give them a deadline actually until the end of December. And hopefully we don't see another war in Lebanon after December. Hamas, there is a Palestinian Authority that you need to give them weapon. At least do what you got to do. And I recommend you guys, they're going to go after you one after one. For those of you who did not commit crimes, Hamas, who are just resistant fighters, you better just leave and build a life for yourself and your children and your grandchildren. What you going to be staying there and fighting all your life, all your children's life? What kind of life is that? For territory. Just so you can prove that, hey, this is our land. What, are you going to fight for 1967 or for 1948 or for 1917? Or are you going to fight the Ottoman Empire that they took over? Or who are you going to fight? Right now, let's just focus on what we have right now. Take that 1967 border solution and prosper there. Let the Palestinians build a state there. Hamas, they're going after you for what happened in October 7th. They just put a documentary in Paramount Plus about what happened October 7th. It's very brutal. That didn't look like liberators either. Going after people who are already in bomb shelters and just throwing bombs inside. You don't even know who's there. And just throwing. I mean, seriously, you made Israel become even more savage than they were the last 75 years. Now they showed even more atrocities, throwing bombs on everybody, waiting for people to go inside building to blow up the entire building. We've been seeing all these videos of what's going on. So being a peacemaker is really hard because you try to be with both sides. You try to bring peace to both sides, but both sides are bitter. Both sides, nobody likes anybody. They hate each other for what happened in the past. But again, if we keep hating, we're going to live in that life of hate, of negative energy. Try to substitute that negative energy, that hate that we have for each other, for actually just tolerance and focus on what's better for your family. And if each one focus on what's better for their family, then the whole society is going to get better. The Israeli side, I'd say you need to act civilized and apologize for the atrocities. Compensate people who got damaged. Act like a real good society so people can start loving you, so people can switch. Right now, you're showing that, hey, it's killing mass number of people. I don't care how you call it, genocide or not genocide. I don't care about the term genocide. What I care about is the number of people dying. Now we reached, I believe, 70,000 people died in Gaza. Because there were some people who attacked on October 7th. We're going to go ahead and kill 70,000 people. Why? We're not smart enough to get those people who did the attack, those people who committed the atrocities. Nobody's giving excuses. What they did was horrible, but what the Israelis are doing right now is even more horrible, killing the mass number. So many children, a child who didn't even have a choice to be born in that environment. Now many families in Gaza were gone. The whole entire family, imagine. The whole last name is gone. Somebody's last name is erased. Why? Because the whole 40 people, 60 family members, they're all gone. This is what we got to. But imagine a society where they both get together. Imagine with me a world, 1967 borders that we have. Imagine we get that finally. And there is a state, 1967. And there is also a way to go from Gaza to West Bank and everything is safe and peaceful. Just imagine we have peace with Syria. Imagine we have peace with Lebanon. Imagine we have peace with Egypt. Imagine we have peace with Jordan. Imagine everything is sealed. That's it. Peace. They may even join all the Abraham Accords, all of them. So imagine we are in that situation right now where there is peace. Anybody who will do any kind of foolishness, they will be exposed to the world. And I'm talking about if Hamas dare to do anything after you give them a state, they're going to be exposed to the world. Because we all agree that the 1967 borders is the solution for peace. In Israel, you cannot take more than that. We all know the way you started. You started as settlers. And as a matter of fact, and you kicked out about 1 million people. We all know about that, what happened in 1948. But now we're trying to forgive and forget and start a new page. There are 9 million Israelis. They're there. And like we talked about it in the past, people who are born there in 1950, their grandfather is born in Israel. So they are Israelis. Same for Palestinians. Their I'm going to add 3, 4, 5 grandfathers are from there. So they deserve a state too. 1967 borders. Jerusalem is Jerusalem as the capital. They have Gaza, and let them prosper. Let them start working on their lives, on getting better, on their universities, their science, their tourism. Let people love that area. I want to go see Palestine. And from Palestine, I want to go see Israel. Why not, if there's peace? If I go to Palestine, they tell me, oh, that's it, it's a new page. And they tell me, now we're good. The Israelis are actually training us good. Actually, now we feel peace, we feel safe. Then guess what? Then I may go to Israel. But if I go to Palestine and they tell me, no, those guys are still offending us, they're doing this and this and this and that, why would I want to go to Israel? So I can encourage the offense, the oppression that's going on there? Nobody want to do it. Think logically. Nobody want to encourage that kind of behavior. I've been living in the United States for over quarter century right now. All my life, I never bought any products made in Israel, from Israel. Whenever I go to the grocery store, I look at the back of the label. Is it made in Israel? No. Last time I made my wife take back some sea salt that she bought. It was made in Israel. And I told her, no, sorry, we have to take it back because we don't want to encourage the war machine that's going on in Palestine. And I'm sure this is not only me. There's so many people that think the same. So many people think that Israel is doing the wrong thing. And everybody agrees that Palestinians are the underdog. There is nothing that we can deny about that. So now what we need to do is to act civilized and apologize, dear Palestinians. Sorry for what happened to you. Here is some money compensation for this and this and this and that. For the people who has been exiled, you can go back. For this, you can do that. So let's show our humanity. From going forward, no more settlers are going to be attacking. No more this and this. Everybody's going to be treated equally. The army needs to protect everybody, because if you're asking the Palestinians not to have any weapons, so how are they going to be protected? And if this international force goes away after 2 years, how are they going to be protected? So they deserve protection, and the government needs to protect everybody, no exception. I'm just saying, imagine a world where there is such a peace. People will love to go to Palestine, then after Palestine, go to Israel, then go to Jordan and visit that entire area. You can take 2 weeks and visit the whole area. It's not even that big. But now nobody dare do such a thing, because if you go to Israel right now as an Arab Muslim who is fighting for the Palestinian cause, you will be called a traitor. Nobody want to go to Israel right now. Anybody who goes to Israel right now is called a traitor, because what's the atrocities that they're doing. So when are we going to get to the situation when going to Israel is okay, is normal? As a matter of fact, is good. It's good that you go and see that place too that nobody dared to go see in the past, because there was so many wars, so many atrocities. Can we get to that level? Israelis, can you really act in such a humane way to attract people to your place again, to convince people that, hey, we are actually not for the atrocities that happened? Because many Israelis are against, especially here in the US. Can you prove that? So humanity can turn on you the other way and start loving you, because Israelis right now are hated all over the world. Let's not deny that either. Just like we know that the Palestinians are the underdog, the Israelis are hated. Excusez-moi. My question is, what does it take to change that? And can it really change? And are the Israelis actually willing to make that change? It's not easy to convince somebody like me, for example, to start buying Israeli products. It's way not easy to convince somebody like me to go visit Israel, because visiting Israel right now, it's like harming the Palestinians. It's like lubricating the financial machine of Israel so they can actually buy more weapons so they can kill more Palestinians. That's how everybody thinks. So how can you Israelis make us change our thinking? There's not only me, there are millions like me. So the only way that can change, if we start thinking the other way, hey, actually, Israel, just like any other society, they went through horrible events and horrible things happened, but now is what matters. Look at them now. They apologize to the Palestinians. They give them the state 1967 borders. They compensated them for the damage. They're treating them good. The jails Everything is strict. There's no abuse in jails. There's no abuse in law. There's no extremism here or there. Because the extremism is not from the Palestinian side only. It's actually also from the Israeli side. We need to treat everybody equally. There is no such a thing as Great Israel. There is no such a thing as a holy land just for these people, not for the others. It's everybody's holy land. God is everybody's God. God was not just for the Israelis. God is for the Israelis, for the Christians, for the Muslims, for the atheists, for the non-religion believers, for everybody. God created everybody. So we have to treat everybody equally. And that's why our countries and our law guarantees the freedom of religion. So again, guys, imagine with me if we have such a country. Imagine if we have such a world where peace is roaming in that area, where we can just go there and have fun and party and go pray in the Aqsa Mosque. And then after that, you go to Tel Aviv and check their restaurants and check their beach. Then you go down to Gaza and you get some nice Palestinian food. And you check their beach as well. It will be changed totally, hopefully. Who knows how many years? But I'm dreaming. I have a dream. Where are you, Mr. Martin Luther King? I have a dream. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode. Have a great, blessed day. Don't forget to subscribe, push that like, please, and leave some comments. Let's discuss what's going on. I want to hear from you. Thank you.